Bernard Kerik, as former commissioner of the NYPD, author of the book The Grave Above the Grave. He is a friend, and I know he's in much demand, kind enough to check in with us this morning. Bernie, Commissioner, welcome to the show, sir. Great to have you with us this morning.
Thanks, Joe.
So we had Terrence Monahan was just on. Chief Monahan was on. You see Brian Mulkeen, another cop killed, a member of the Bronx anti-crime unit. I mean, this is epidemic at this point, Commissioner, and I know you feel because you are indeed a cop's cop, Bernie.
Listen, Joe, it's a bad time. It was a tragic event. Unfortunately, these things happen. When you have guys out there, men and women out there doing a job that most people would never do in their life. And I didn't know Mulkeen personally, but I do know 3 or 4 people that was very close to him. Went to college with him, close friends, one hell of a guy. Loved his job, loved what he was doing, and it's a real shame.
So how dangerous is it to patrol the New York City housing developments, Bernie?
Well, Joe, listen, it's not just the housing developments. That's a piece of the big puzzle of policing in New York City.
Yeah.
But the bottom line, keep in mind what these guys were doing. This was a borough-wide anti-crime unit. And their job, I was in anti-crime in Midtown Manhattan back in the 80s. Our job was to basically respond to hot jobs in progress, man with the gun, robbery in progress, shots fired, all these types of jobs. And then they saturate areas where there's intel, where there's going to be problems. And in this case, I heard the chief say that there were some gang issues. They were out there. What's their job? Go find the guns. Look for the guns. And when you're looking for guns, that could be problematic if you run into the wrong people. And in this case, they ran into a guy who had a weapon. They were trying to get him disarmed, and this is what the end result was.
And, they always have these gun laws. They want to do more gun laws. The bad guys, Bernie, they always seem to get the guns no matter what laws are in place.
Hey, Joe, listen, that's the stupidest argument. This is a good demonstration of how stupid that argument is. Bad guys don't give a damn about gun laws, period. They don't care about gun laws. They're going to find weapons. They're going to buy them on the black market. They're going to steal them. They're going to do anything they can to get their hands on weapons. That's what they do. You can have gun laws till you're blue in the face.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, makes no difference.
Yeah. Commissioner, as a former NYPD commissioner, Bernie, what do you say to the police officers that were involved with the Brian Mulkeen shooting? I mean, how do you talk those men and women down, sir?
Well, listen, Joe. It's a difficult thing to do. They've got to understand they were doing what they had to do. They were doing what they thought was right. They were doing what they were supposed to do. The unfortunate thing is, in circumstances like this, once in a great while, it happens. It's tragic, and they've got to understand that. And it's essential for the department, for the commissioner, for the mayor, for the chief, to stay on top of them, to make sure they're okay, to make sure they have the support they need. And I've known Terry Monahan a long time. He's a good cop. He gets it. He understands it.
Sir.
You just got to stay on top of them and make sure they're okay.
Yeah, when we were at the Tunnel to Towers this weekend, and Chief Monahan stepped up, Bernie, and he broke the news of this death of Brian Mulkeen, and it was just, you see the pain in his face, and it's why we were there. Ironically enough, it's why we were there. And just to touch on that Tunnel to Towers event, there we are, Ground Zero, and Mayor Giuliani came in, and boy, Bernie, you were right there in Ground Zero. And I keep asking you this, and the reason I keep asking you, Commissioner, and I appreciate your patience in allowing me to do that, sir, because people forget. They forget. And we're there celebrating. We're celebrating everything that's great about first responders. The Gold Star families were there, the FDNY, the catastrophically wounded veterans. But, I mean, just to give us a feeling of what we went through as a country, Bernie, we were so joined together right after that. If you remember how together we were.
No, listen, Joe, nobody remembers more than I do. I remember that, this is a true story, Joe. We had the president come in on that Friday, and the president came to Ground Zero, as you remember, stood up there with the bullhorn, told the entire world we're going to get the people that did this. And then we went up to the Javits Center. We were all in the president's Suburban, and all he talked about going up the West Side Highway was the unity and the united front put on by the American people and all of New Yorkers. The unity. There were no Republicans. There were no Democrats. There was no right, no left. We were all one. And the president was looking out the window, and he made a comment about the unity, and the mayor started laughing. He looked at the president. He said, "Mr. President, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but we're on the west side of Manhattan. Not one of those people voted for you." And we all cracked up. But at the end of the day, that was true.
Yeah.
Not one of those people voted for the president, President Bush. But at the end of the day, we were all one people, united.
Yeah.
And I often wonder, Joe, where are all those people today?
Yeah, amen, Bernard Kerik. And before we let you go, Commissioner, an internal memo has revealed that the Chicago Police Department advised officers, Bernie, not to cooperate with the Department of Homeland Security, particularly in situations involving immigrant arrests. I mean, how should an officer deal with such a directive, Commissioner?
Well, first of all, I think the mayor's a moron in Chicago. Number one. Number two, she made some extremely racist comments concerning ICE, talking about ICE is racist and they have racist policies. Completely bizarre statements coming from a mayor of a major city in this country. I found it appalling. As far as the cops go, I'm going to tell you something, Joe. The reality is, I don't give a damn what policy's out there. If ICE needs help, something tells me that the Chicago cops and cops all over this country, they're going to come to their aid. And I hope that, I hope that continues to happen, because at the end of the day, the men and women in ICE, the men and women in law enforcement, whether it's local, state, or otherwise, they're all working toward the same goal, and that is keep our streets safe and secure and keep our citizens safe and secure. And they're not going to do it separated.
It's so true. Commissioner, thanks for your service, sir. Always appreciate it, Bernie. Never take it for granted, my friend. God bless, Godspeed. We'll talk again.
Thanks, Joe.
Commissioner Bernard Kerik right there. 10 minutes before 8 o'clock, 7:50 with Joe on the radio. Debbie's on the roads looking out for you.